Hello, I hope the audio is working. I'm just trying to fix that. Hello, I hope the audio is working. I'm just trying to fix that. Okay, I think we should get started. I'm not sure how many more people are going to come. Um, so yeah, we're making a tier list today. It's I know it's been a couple of weeks since this trend started, but I thought I should do it because many people want to know my opinions. Hello ARX, hello Thomas Lee, hello Fireblade, Swagman Games, and Yusuf. Thanks for joining. Um, I guess we shall start this, kicking this off. So basically how this works is I will be, so all the Asphalt 9 cars that we were able to use so far are in this list over here. And all we're going to do is we're going to put them in tiers, in different tiers based on how well they drive and how good they are in the game. So let's get started. So I think it's arranged alphabetically, which is why we have the Acura NSX first. So I'm not sure about this car because, hey Slayer, nice to see you. So I'm not sure about the Acura. It's a very good car. It used to be the king of C-Class, but um, it has a lot of flaws. Its drifting could be better. Its nitro efficiency is the worst, is its worst flaw, but it has good top speed and has great acceleration. I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna put this in C tier, just because it has two big flaws. I would put it in B if it had better drifting, and I would put it in A if it had really good um, nitro efficiency. But I'm gonna put it in C for now. Um, so yeah, next one's the Apollo N. It's very powerful, very fast. Again, it has two big flaws. Its handling is not that great, and its acceleration is pretty sluggish. It has trouble getting to its top speed, but its top speed is really good, and that's what makes it one of the kings of B class. Again, the Huracan beats it on most tracks, but I'm gonna put this in B just because, not because it's in B class. I mean, so far that's what it looks like, but I'm gonna put it in B tier because it's really good. I enjoy driving this car. It's not the most fun car to drive. I have it at 4 stars, but it is pretty powerful. Put Lancer in S first. We'll go in order. Lancer is, there's still quite a few to go before we hit the Lancer. Okay, so next one's the Aston Martin DB11. It's very sluggish for sure. It has bad stats overall. Like it reminds me of the DB9 Coupe in Asphalt 8, except over here it has pretty good top speed. Like for B class for its rank, it goes pretty fast. It goes just a bit slower than the 488, so I'm gonna put this in F, not oof. No, not E either. The thing is, it has good top speed. If you're able to drive this car, it's very powerful, but it's really hard to drive this car. It's really hard to get to top speed. I see a lot of Lancer in S. We'll get there, we'll get there. Z4 is coming up. The Vulcan. Very disappointing to see where the Vulcan is in Asphalt 9. Obviously, in Asphalt 8, it was the king for about a year. So I kind of missed that. Hello, Fred. Nice to see you. Hello, everybody who joined. So I'm going to I'm gonna slide this into C class, C tier, because like the Acura, it is a decent car overall, but its handling could be better. Nitro efficiency is average, it's okay. Its top speed is really low, and its acceleration can be better. Instead of having 2 bad stats, it has 4 mediocre stats. So I'm gonna put it in C. All right, the pig, the homage is next. I'm gonna put this in E because it is not very useful. I haven't used mine for a long time. The last time I used this car was probably for some career races. Um, but it's not a very impressive car, unfortunately. In Asphalt 8, it would if this was an Asphalt 8 tier list, it would be an A tier, S tier. But this is Asphalt 9, and it's more realistic, so I'll put it in E because it's not incredibly bad. It's easy to get and it's easy to drive, but it doesn't go that high just because of its top speed and its rank and stuff. Which car is the worst car? 370 or SRT8? Definitely the SRT8. Um, okay, let's keep going. M4. I don't want to look at the chat before putting my cars in because I don't want my opinions to be changed around. And I don't remember most of the tier list made by other people, so we'll see. M4 will be a D class, or an C tier actually. The M4 is a C tier because it's not bad, to be honest. It's like D and below is means it's bad. It's not useful. It's kind of not fun to drive either. The M4 is decent to drive, and I remember it had bad nitro and its drifting wasn't that great, but it has top speed. It has a very good top speed. Very similar I think better top speed than the Mercedes-Benz AMG GTS, if I remember correctly. But it used to be really powerful, like in the early days when people had slower cars. It used to be very powerful. So it's a really good car, but it's not an amazing car. All right, Z4. So definitely not oof, definitely not F. I'm gonna put this in E. I've used this a lot actually because it's very useful. I mean, in RPM battles, we use it a lot. Um, we used it a lot to practice on the new Caribbean track because it was the car that most people had in that season. So I'm gonna put it in E class because even though it's not really good and even though it's the second car in the game, it's still kind of okay to drive. It has bad nitro, bad acceleration, and bad drifting, but it's it's not really bad. I don't want to put it in F. Hmm. I would say that this is between E and F, but I don't want to put it in F. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt. All right, Chiron. That's a big jump from what we were dealing with. I think the biggest debate here is whether to put it in A or S, and I'm just going to put it in S because I know there'll be a few people that will disagree with me, but I think this is all personal preference. I think the Chiron is an amazing car. There's a reason why it's king. It may have bad nitro and it may not have the best acceleration, but it gets the job done. Its top speed is really good, 467 with nitro at max, I think. And it's not that hard to drive. It's very easy to drive for a king, which is surprising. Usually, like kings are not very easy to drive, but this one's very easy to drive, in my opinion. I have it 3 stars, but I've seen what it can do at max, and it's a very powerful car. I wish I had it at max. Okay, next one, the Cadillac CN. Um, I want to put this in as an oof car. Before the patch, I would put it in B tier, to be honest. Before the stat change, whatever thing. Because before that, it was very powerful. It had top speed, the top speed of like the Aventador SV, or the top speed of the Egoista, and it had really good nitro efficiency. Its acceleration and handling were still sluggish, but it wasn't too bad. But everything except for the top speed was nerfed pretty badly for this car, so now it's just a pain to drive. On most tracks, it can't even reach its top speed, and well, it's very sad that it was nerfed so badly. One of the biggest oofs of the Christmas update. Did you know you can rename the tiers? Yes, I knew that. I can do that right now, but I think these are appropriate names. Okay, let's just go in order. So, next one is the Camaro LT, right here, because it is the third car in the game. Despite being the third car in the game and one of the first cars you unlock, it is very good. It has better top speed than the Elise, and it has a really high top speed for its rank. Its rank is only like 1546, but it goes almost 300 kilometers per hour, so I'll put it in D. Hey Edid, nice to see you here. What about DSE10s? It's coming. It's coming up after a few cars. The ZL1 also goes with the Camaro. Both the Camaros in the same tier, because and they're for different reasons. The ZL1 has worse top speed, obviously, but everything else is so much better than the Camaro LT, so it kind of evens out. And yeah, I think the ZL1 looks cool too, but that's not a part of this list. If this was about looks, then it would be a very different list. All right, Corvette Grand Sport. I could put it in B, but this is not about who's king and who's not, so I'm going to put it in A. There may be a little bit of bias when it comes to me putting this in A. A lot of people will say B because its top speed is just way too low, but everything else about this car is really cool. It's really good. I would say it's between B and A because its acceleration could be better. I mean, I've been overtaken by people at the beginning of the race just because it has mediocre acceleration, but everything else about this car is really good. And I think it was buffed pretty considerably for the Christmas update, so I think it just got better. It would have been B or C before the Christmas update, but now it's A. It's just so powerful. You can see how powerful it is if you use it in the multiplayer season that's going on right now. Even though it's a B class, it competes with the S class cars because it's so easy to drive. All right, I'm guessing this one's a Hemi. Yeah, it is a Hemi because it's purple. And the Hemi goes here. Not A or S, because that's for the Supreme. The Hemi has flaws. It is very heavy, so it has pretty bad acceleration, and its drifting is not that great. But its nitro efficiency is better than the Shelby's, and it's very fun to drive for some people. For straight tracks especially, it's very powerful. It is one of the kings of D class. It has the best top speed in D class, so I'm just gonna put it in B. I don't think it's A because I don't think it's like there's like a wow factor about it. Like the Corvette is just amazing, right? Like people are like, wow, this car is awesome. But the Hemi's like, okay, it's a really good car, but it's not like top tier. SRT8, oof. Oops. Oof. Yeah. I mean, it's even more oof than the CN. It was bad before. Before the update, I would put it at F, but like the update just made it worse. Like nerfed all 4 stats, and I don't know why though. I don't know why they had to nerf the SRT8. But yeah, that's just a big oof. The biggest oof in the entire game. Okay, we have a lot to go through, and this is already getting pretty long, so let us keep going. Um, the Dodge Viper GTS, not the ACR. This is the A-class one, and I'm going to put this in B tier because I would put it between C and B, but it's better than the Vulcan for sure. Definitely better than the Vulcan. It is better in all aspects, and it's really good in multiplayer series because it's so easy to drive, and a lot of people have it. Um, Corvette can beat the Apollo N on many tracks, by the way. Um, yeah, the muscle cars in this game didn't really get uh, the long end of the stick, so feel bad for them. All right, they Dodge Viper ACR goes here. Like the M4, it has some really good stats and some really bad stats. Its acceleration is good, and it's much better after the update. Before the update, it would be in D or E, but after the update, it just got so much better to drive. Um, so I'm gonna put this in C just because it's so fun to drive, and the reason why it's not higher is just because its top speed is not high. Um, it's weird how it's like in the same tier as the Acura, but I would say it's on the lower end of the tier, while the Acura is on the higher end of C tier. Maybe the Acura will be a bit controversial, but we'll see how that goes. I might just change the Acura a bit, maybe move it to B. You know what? I'm gonna move the Acura to B because it's it's still very useful. You can still get a top 1% with it in the C class elite tier, C elite cup thing. Yeah. Hello Enzo. Hello Fuinur. Thanks for joining. Looks like a lot of people are here. I don't know why Fuinur is not a mod. I'll just make him a mod real quick. There we go. So let's keep going. DS E-Tents. It's not very it's not very special, which is why it goes in E tier. It's a nice car, but it's not special. It's like the Z4. There's nothing that's amazing about it. And it doesn't have any flaws or anything. It's just nothing about it is impressive. Hmm. Let's keep going. The Nissan GTR should not be an oof. It's it's gonna be way better than that. All right, the Exotic Rides W70. This one's a hard one because a lot of people don't use it because even though it's like in many multiplayer series, a lot of people don't use it because there's better cars. Um, you know, um, I make people whoever's if you're either very active in my live streams or you are RPM, I'll just make you mod just because I trust you guys. And I would need more mods. Anyways, so the Exotic Rides W70 should be, this is going to be hard, but I think I'm going to put it in C tier. Yeah, I think that should be fine. There's a big gap between D and C, and I don't think it's like, I don't think it has enough for B tier. So I'm going to put it in C just because it's a nice car and it's fun to drive, but its nitro efficiency can be better and its handling can be better. Its acceleration is really good though. Okay, 488 GTB. It's a very good car. I love this car. And I'm close to maxing it, but it's not impressive. And it's not as impressive as the Kings, like the Apollo N or the Hemi. So I'm going to put this in C tier for now. Can't put it in front of the Vulcan. Okay. Just for now, because it's just slightly faster than the Vulcan, but I think it's everything else is just mediocre about it. Its acceleration is pretty good. All right, see ya, Venturi and Enzo, and I think it just goes in C. It could be better. I don't think it's B tier. B is actually like in this tier list. B is considered very good because out of what is this 8 tiers, it is the third one. Like think of this as a race in multiplayer. In an 8-player race, coming third is not bad. Coming last is an oof. Okay, let's keep going. F12 TDF. I'm going to put that in B tier. It's a very good car. It has its biggest flaw is its handling. I don't think it's A because it's just not as impressive and as wow as the Corvette. But it is really good. Like all these cars over here are very powerful in multiplayer. Are pretty powerful in multiplayer. These cars are very powerful in multiplayer. Hello Moon. So yeah, I think this goes in B. Next one is the FXXK. This one's interesting because the only S-Class car we've had was the Chiron so far. The FXXK is another one that's like far away from these cars in terms of performance. I'm going to put it in B because its main flaw is its handling. It's like the F12 TDF, but it's kind of better. It's like a slightly better F12 TDF, essentially. Like its handling is better, its acceleration is way better. Its nitro efficiency is slightly worse, but its top speed is slightly better. So I think it stays in B here. J50. It's not an oof. It's not an F. It's an E. Just because it is just so annoying to drive. I don't like driving this car. Even at 4 stars, I mean, I've heard that it could be a D because it does have better speed than the Vulcan, but everything else is kind of meh. It's kind of mediocre. And it's kind of pricey for, if you look at its like rank and its class, it's kind of pricey. It's worse than the GTS, and the GTS is a better car and it's easier to get. All right, LaFerrari. I'm going to put this in B tier. I think B tier is going to be like a very populated tier, B and C, because there's a lot of cars that have different stats, but they all have something in common. They just lack in 1 or 2 stats. And the LaFerrari is one of them. It has bad handling and its acceleration is slightly below average. So it's a bit sluggish. But yeah, it's not amazing in any way. But I used it in multiplayer today, and it got me a few wins. I have it 4-star, and it's a pretty good car. It's not an amazing car. It's a pretty good car. This again, this tier over here can get you some wins in multiplayer. That's for sure. Maybe not the Hemi, but you know what I'm saying. Okay, Ford GT. Oof? Is it an oof? I think the Ford GT had it worse than the CN, to be honest. I mean, I love the Ford GT. I really do. But now it's just like, it's impossible to drive. Like, if there was a way to put something between two classes, I would put this. But to be honest, like, I'm sorry, Fuinur, but to be honest, the Ford GT got the biggest nerf in that update. And it used to be really good. Now it's pretty bad. And actually, it's still drivable. The thing is, it's still drivable because it doesn't have as bad stats as the CN, and its top speed is pretty good if you reach it. It's just about as fast as the Aventador J, and it's in B class, so we should give it that. But its acceleration is bad. Its nitro efficiency is horrible, and its um, handling is also really bad. It loses a lot of speed. So I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt here. I'm just going to bump it up a bit, just because many of you like it. The Shelby. Don't know what to do with this car, to be honest. Logically, I would put it in here. B tier. Because Um, it's just as good as the Hemi. I think that's the only reason I'll put it in B tier. It's the closest matchup we've seen between two kings in this game, and some it wins in some tracks, loses in other tracks. But overall, it's like just personal preference if you don't know what to choose. So that's the Shelby. A lot of you are okay. Yeah, there's gonna be a big debate about the Ford GT because the CN is an oof and the Ford GT isn't. So I'm still not sure about the Ford GT. I could put it in oof, but I'll put it in F for now. So far, the curve is kind of weird. The Corvette, the more lonely the Corvette gets, the more confused I am about my decision putting it there. I'm tempted to move it down to B, but then again, I look at the Apollo and I'm like, yeah, it's not as special as the Corvette. Or the Icona. The Icona goes in A. This is going to be a bit controversial, but it may have bad, it may not have the best um, nitro efficiency, um, but it is very good at everything else. Overall, it's a very good car. It has almost 400 kilometers per hour in terms of top speed, and I'm just gonna put it in A just for that. Dislike because Ford GT must be oof. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if I got more dislikes than likes for this video because yeah. So the Icona is actually very good. It's not as like it's the FXXK cannot beat the Icona. Yeah, the A9 is actually coming on Switch, which is interesting. We got a lot of news about A9 recently. This past 12 hours, like the Chinese A9 game thing that is kind of weird. Back on topic, the SVR, F-Type SVR. See, it's not oof, definitely. It's not F because it's still not that bad. So I'm gonna put an E. I'm gonna put an E tier because it is it's not a really bad car. It's just a meh car. Like it's not that great. In a multiplayer race, you would expect to come sixth out of eight with this car. Like that's how I'm trying to put these cars. So it's not a bad car, but then again, it's not that impressive either. Its nitro efficiency can be much better. If it had good nitro efficiency, honestly, it would be a C tier car because it has really good top speed. But this is about drivability, so I'm gonna put it in E. Maybe D because like the J50 is not much better than it. But for now, actually, I'll put it in D for now, just cause not to make this diagonal look pretty, but I just want to put it at D because I think it deserves a D tier. If you can drive it properly and if you can manage nitro efficiency, then it's a pretty good car. It's pretty powerful with its top speed. The Regera A tier. It's not S tier. It just isn't. Like the Chiron can you can if you know how to drive the Chiron, you can get a good time on any track. But the Regera, you just can't do well on Caribbean. You can't do well on some of the Rome tracks. It really needs Cairo or Himalayas to actually show what it can do. Its nitro efficiency is just way too bad. Like if it had better nitro, it would be an S class. S tier, that is. It is an S class. But yeah, it just has a flaw, and that is nitro efficiency. Its handling could be better, but again, its handling is not impressive, and it loses a lot of speed. So I'm gonna put it in A. Too many flaws makes it an A class. So I'm gonna keep going. Asterion. I don't remember what its top speed is. I think it's 450. Not 450. That's insane. 350. I know it's a bit faster than the Vulcan, but it's in the same tier as the Vulcan because it's not impressive. It is a nice car. It's pretty fun to drive, but I'm gonna put it in C tier. I've I've realized that tier list is getting a bit too focused on like stats and not as focused on drivability, but I think so far I think it represents my opinions pretty well so far. So I'm gonna leave it and see. Okay, Aventador J. Okay, yeah, 349 with nitro. Okay, that makes sense. And I think the Vulcan is 356 with nitro, if I'm not wrong. Anyways, Aventador J goes in B tier, and we see B tier expanding here, just because it's a very good car. B is very popular because it's always these cars that have one or two flaws. There's a lot of cars that have one or two flaws. So I'm going to put it in B tier because it's a nice car. It's a really nice car. It's very powerful in multiplayer. I have it 3 stars, and I think its event is going to start tomorrow, maybe. It's going to be an Unleashed event. And at 5 stars, it's very powerful if you've seen Firum's videos. Um, and its top speed could be better, honestly, but everything else about it is really good. I wouldn't put it in A tier because it's not like that impressive. Um, but yeah, so the Vulcan is maybe slightly slower than the Asterion, maybe. I haven't driven either of them in a while, so I don't know. All right, so oh yeah, at 5 stars, it's really good. It's very fun to drive. I think its acceleration can be. I think its acceleration is not that great, but its handling is very good, and its nitro efficiency is also very good. SV also goes in B tier with the. I don't want to put it with the Aventador J because it's for different reasons. It has really good top speed, 382, and I don't want to. I'm trying not to be too biased about this car. It's definitely better than the Vulcan, but I'm gonna put it in B tier because it has its handling can be better, and its acceleration is meh. It's not that great. Yeah, the J is coming back. It's probably coming back tomorrow. So get ready with your tokens, or you can save up. I would save up for the Jesco. Jesco might be an S tier. Okay, we have probably like halfway done here. So let's keep going. Centenario. Hmm. See, I don't want to put it in B tier because it's not as good as the FXXK. I'm going to put it in C tier because it's an oof in S class. I love this car for its looks. I love Lamborghinis in general, but I don't think it deserves B tier because its handling is just too bad. It loses a lot of speed. It's not, and its top speed is the only thing that's keeping it in C tier because it's still a pretty powerful car if you know how to drive it. But its nitro efficiency is also pretty bad. Its handling is bad. Acceleration is not. I think it's probably the worst acceleration in S class. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, I think the Trion has worse acceleration. But I think the Centenario only deserves a spot in C class, in C tier. I think many of you agree with that. Okay, let's keep going. This is taking a long time, but let's keep going. This is probably going to be an hour long because I talk a lot. Egoista. I don't like putting stuff in B tier now because it's just too many cars, but I don't want to let that get in my way. So Egoista is B tier because it's a decent car. It's a very good car actually. Um, it's like better than the Aventador SV. I would put it in A. I would say it's very close to A, but it's not quite there yet because for its rank, its top speed is just way too low. Everything else is really good about this car. Because of how long it is, it does have worse drift than most S-Class cars, but it's still very good. I have it at 5 stars, and it's very fun to drive. Okay, now for the big guns. We got the Huracan Evo Spider. Not that the Egoista wasn't a big gun, but the Huracan Evo Spider. I'm not sure about this. I'm gonna put this in A because it's at another level. It does have only a top speed of 360, 358, or like more like, but it is just so good. And it definitely, I mean, you just can't put it underneath the Corvette. It has to be in the same tier as the Corvette, if not better. And you see in the B Elite Cup, you can see that even though it is supposed to be an advantage for the Corvette because it's Rome, it still beats the Corvette pretty consistently by about a second. You can improve your times by like half a second if you use the Huracan as opposed to the Corvette. Yeah, S means S tier is just like supreme. It's superior. It's like nothing can come close to it. That's why there's going to be very few cars in S. I'm not sure if there's going to be any other car in S besides the Chiron. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep it going. Okay, Terzo Millennio. It's kind of disappointing actually to see what happened to it. It got nerfed a bit. Even its top speed got nerfed. But it's I'm gonna put it in B tier because it does compete with the Egoista, even though it is about 15 kilometers per hour faster, maybe even more. I think it's like, yeah, I think it's about 20 kilometers per hour faster. But yeah, I'll put it in B tier because it's not the best at everything. Its nitro efficiency is pretty bad. Its handling is not that great, and its acceleration is probably its only good thing. The only good thing about it. It's not C tier because it's I mean if you know how to drive it, it can be pretty powerful. Like I've used it in multiplayer a lot, and it's pretty powerful. And it got nerfed before release, which is kind of strange, but we should have been able to try it out before the nerf. That would have been nice, but I think before release it it would it would go like 412 kilometers per hour, but now it barely makes it over 400. So it's kind of sad to see that happen. Elise. Elise. Should I put it in B? To be or not to be? That is the question. B or not B? Not A. I mean, I don't think it's deserves to be an A. B or C, B or C. I don't know. See, the thing is, the Elise is so weird. I'm gonna put it in here for now. I'm gonna change that obviously. The Elise is so weird because it's amazing at everything except top speed, and its top speed is absolute like trash. It's just not fast at all. Like you can get to your top speed, sure, but once you reach your top speed, you're stuck. Like people who with any other car, pretty much, even the Camaro LT will be able to pass the Elise. So I'm gonna just put it in C because it's just its top speed. If its top speed were like 296, it would be B tier for sure. But it's at like 282 right now, I think. So it's very fun to drive, which is one reason I'll put it in B. I think I'll put it in B actually because it's with the other two D class kings, and this is about drivability, not about performance. So I'm gonna put it in B. A9 Enigma 1 star. I remember that. I think I know what you're talking about. Hello, Kevin. We did try it out before Nerf, but that was stock. We didn't try it out at its at a good upgraded rank before Nerf. So, and at stock it was very disappointing for most people when they first tried it. So, yep, yep. Let's keep going. We have a little bit over 2 rows of cars left. Evora, I don't know what the full name of this car is. Evora Sport 410. No, I think that's the one in Asphalt 8. this is an Evora, and I don't know, whatever. Evora is going to be in, see, it's not E because it is better than these cars. It's probably D because it's like a nerfed Jaguar. It has bad nitro, but and everything else is okay about it. It handles pretty well. It has good acceleration. Its top speed is low, but yeah, it's gonna be D. All right, Alfieri. I'm gonna go a bit faster here because I'm like talking about I'm talking way too much. Okay, so Alfieri. Alfieri is I don't like the Alfieri. Yeah, it's a Sport 410. I thought so. So the Alfieri is you know what? I don't know. I haven't seen many people drive this car. Like, I mean, it is the C. I mean, it is the fastest car in C class besides, like, leaving the Venture out. It is the fastest in C class. So I'll give it that. But it's just so bad to drive. This is all about drivability, not about how good it is. And what's useful about the top speed if you can't even get to it, right? So I'm gonna put it in E tier. Okay, let's keep going. 570S. I'm gonna really, a lot of people will hate me for this, and I would be pretty surprised myself because I have it 4 stars, and it's faster than my VLF at 4 stars. So I'm gonna put it in B because its acceleration is okay, but it's and its handling is very good, but its nitro efficiency is just so bad. It can be so much better. It has so much potential. It just can't beat the uh, Huracan. It just cannot beat the Huracan. Switch the Alfieri and the Evora. The thing is, it's about drivability, and it's just not fun to drive the Alfieri at all. So it's fun to drive these cars. It's not fun to drive these cars. So I'm just gonna leave them where they are. I think this is fine. 570S D, it's not a boat. It handles pretty well, especially at 4 stars. It is at the same rank as exact same rank as my SV, and I think it's very close in comparison. It's much faster in terms of top speed, but and everything else is lacking. So the P1 also goes in B. Again, even though this may not seem like it, B is a very good tier to be in. If your favorite car is in B, don't be sad. It's a tier filled with very good cars. This is a tier filled with cars that are okay, and these are cars that just didn't have what it takes. Okay, AMG GTS goes in with the Elise, with the Evora, because it's just as fun to drive as the Evora, and we've driven it. I think all of us have driven it, definitely, because it's the weekly competition car. So it's gonna be D class, D tier. And then we have the Lancer. Okay, let's keep going. The 370Z is F because it's not an oof because it's still pretty good to drive, but it's not as good as the DSE 10s. Actually, I'll put it at E because it's actually pretty fun to drive if you haven't used it before. Um, so I'm gonna leave it in E for now because it's about the same level as the Z4 to drive. It's not that bad. Okay, the next one is the Nismo. Nismo is going to be in with the Vulcan. I would put it in B because it has very good acceleration, but everything else about it is not that great. So I'm going to leave it in C. Yeah, who said? Okay, you need to get your priorities straight, dude. Lancer is definitely S. It stays there. Okay, I know it's a joke, but I'm gonna leave it there until the very end of the stream. It is the worst car of A9. What game are you playing? It is not the worst car of A9. You can beat an SRT8 with the Lancer. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna put it in here. I'm gonna put it with these guys. Okay, so Huayra is A. Many of you may be skeptical about this. I have it at 3 stars. Um, and it's not that great at 3 stars, but when you max it out, you have a car that goes 381 kilometers per hour, or 382 or whatever, and it accelerates pretty well. It's not like it's the acceleration is the worst stat about it, and it's still a very good stat in terms of like everything else. Its handling is very good. It drifts very well, and its nitro efficiency is very good. It has very minor flaws. I'm gonna leave it in A. Pininfarina. There's definitely gonna be 3 rows in B tier, so I'm gonna put it in B tier with the Acura. It's like an Acura, but it's more balanced. Let's just say that. It has very few flaws. Its only flaw is the top speed, but its acceleration is much better. Its nitro efficiency is way better, and its drifting is also much better. Okay, let's keep going. The Cayman is a lost cause. It's not that great, so it's going to be a D tier car. Yeah, you guys are just repeating exactly what I'm saying. So the Cayman is D tier because it's not that fun to drive, but it is like a meh car. It's like a, oh, it's like high-end D class, but it's not that impressive. And yes, there's 2 full tiers below the Elise and the Shelby, just because. Cayman is not B, definitely. It's not. It's probably not going to be C either, because I honestly have more fun driving the Viper than I do the Cayman. The Viper is just so good. We're almost there. 911, Porsche 911 GT3 RS. I put it in E because I'll put it with the Cayman because it is not a really bad car. At the same time, it's not that great either. It drives pretty well. It's fun to drive. So yeah, it's not it's not really bad. Like it's not like Alfieri level, to be honest. And I actually got Legends League with it once in the Corvette series early on in the in my Asphalt 9 career. I just got Legend League with a 1 star, so it's not the worst car that you could drive. So it's not an E. 918 is not an S for sure. It is an A because there's minor flaws about this car which allows it to be an A. There's not like a major thing that stands out about it like in these cars, but like it's not like almost the perfect car. So I'm gonna leave it an A. Okay, so that's the 918. It has I've heard that it is very fun to drive at 5 stars, and it's very powerful. I've seen its power. It, even though it has a low top speed at 376, it is still very hard to catch because it goes around corners pretty well. Okay, so the Merzvani Beast. Um, Honestly, I'm not sure about this car. I'm gonna put it in B because oh, that's the 3rd row in B because its top speed is just slightly lower. Actually, it's much lower than the. It's like the Elise but in C class. It's like the Elise of C class. and it's slightly more balanced than the Elise. So I'm going to leave it in B tier because its only big flaw is its top speed, and it's a bit stiff to turn. So yeah, that's why it's in B. It's not like horrible. It's not like C tier where it's like not fun to drive stuff, or stuff like when it goes into that not very fun to drive. SCG, it would have been an A because if you were around in the first, like in 2018 Asphalt 9, this car was like, it was like the thing. It was like the car of Asphalt 9. Everybody wanted it. Everybody, those who had it, just could not be stopped unless others had the others had the SCG as well. And basically, those who were able to max this car out got really far ahead. But like after the nerf, it just became mediocre. So I'm just gonna leave it in C. It's very sad to put it in C. I would put it in A before the Christmas update. But I think it just goes in C. This NR1 also goes in C because its flaws are just way too prominent. It's only benefit, like its only positive is its, I guess, its top speed and maybe its nitro efficiency, but everything else about it is kind of bad, and it's not fun to drive at all. So I'm gonna keep it in C tier. It's like the Centenario for B class. It's like the Centenario, but just slightly faster and better nitro. Okay, Tryon Nemesis. Again, like the Elise, its stats have such big differences that it's hard to place this anywhere. Then again, it is very, very fast when you get to top speed. It's like the Regera, essentially. So I don't know where to put it. I want to say A because I know that it's very powerful at 6 stars. But in terms of drivability, it's going to be a B because it's not very easy to drive. You really need to practice a lot with this car. I know it's like a very powerful car if you know how to drive it, but this is like in general, like it's just not easy to drive. It's not easy to get good times with the Tryon because everything about it besides its top speed is just not that great. Its acceleration can be better. Its handling is a bit sensitive, which is nice in some aspects and not nice in other aspects, but it loses a lot of speed. So that's why it's not A. It's just my opinion. Like it's not I mean, it is. It's not. You wouldn't say like the Tryon is amazing. Because when I think of the Tryon in Asphalt 9, the first thing I think is, oh, nitro efficiency. It's really bad. So it's not like A tier. The Tryon is nimble, but that's only if you know how to drive it. Most of us in this chat are very good drivers. But there are people out there who just struggle to use this car. So I'm going to leave it in B tier. 5 more to go. Venser Sarth. I'm going to give it B or C. I'll give it a C. And it's weird to put the king of C class under the runner-up of C class. But I'm gonna keep it at C because it's not easy to drive this car, and you lose a lot of speed. Hello, yes, nice to see you here. We're almost done with our stream. This is 45 minutes, which is a lot of time. I need to go eat lunch. So, VLF. The VLF goes in, oops, A tier. A lot of you may disagree, but I think it's just a really powerful car. It is just, it's like fun to drive, first of all. Handling can be, you can get used to the handling. It's not like that bad. And the VLF, and it's just like, top speed is just so good. Like there's very few cars that have good top speed and good acceleration and pretty good nitro efficiency. If you have those three figured out and you know how to handle the car, then you've got a pretty solid car. Again, it's very close to being an S tier. It's very close to being an S tier, but it's not like it's like mediocre, like it's not good like B tier. It's like amazing, right? It's probably the king of A class along with the BC. Like many people say that the BC and the VLF are kings of A class for now. The 570S is not the king of A class. And the only reason for that is because they're just so much better to drive. And therefore you get much better times with them. Obviously, you got the kings in this class, like, to be honest. I don't know why the Akana is sitting here. I mean, it's a very good reason as to why the Akana is sitting here. So, yeah, you got some very powerful cars in this class, in this tier, and the VLF belongs there. The Volkswagen XL Sport concept is an F. It is worse to drive than the DS or the Z4. And it's very sluggish. It's very slow. And it was the free car, the car that Gameloft gave out for completing a championship in Asphalt 8. And it was the easiest championship ever to exist in the game. So that shows how bad this car is, not how good it is. This is almost becoming a 1-hour live stream. Last two cars, and they're not the least, last but not least. It is the Fenner and Lycan. So the Fenner first. It is I think both of them will go in A tier. The Fenner, because it has very good top speed. It's very close to being an S tier. Kind of want to organize this a bit here. There we go. That's more like it. That's like how close they are to being an S tier from closest to furthest. So Fenner is A tier because it's not the easiest to drive. It's not as easy and it's not as free as the Chiron is. It is obviously the closest car to S tier, but it's not quite there yet. The Chiron just has S tier reserved for itself, I think. In my mind, at least. And the last one is the Lycan, which goes in A tier, despite its nerf. Despite its nerf, it's still in A tier. And it's very impressive for a car to be in A tier besides, like, even though it was nerfed. So, Lycan makes it to A tier because the Lycan would be S before the nerf. But after the nerf, its nitro efficiency got much worse. And that's the only reason why it's not in S. It's not in B because it's a very good car still. It is still a very, very powerful car. You get a lot. You can pretty much confirm first place with it in multiplayer unless you meet very skilled people. So that's why it's an A tier. And I think that's it. That's it. So I'm gonna just get this chat out of the way. Make it smaller. Make this bigger. Trying to get. Okay, maybe it won't change. Okay, never mind. That is it. I know it's a very strange tier list. Like look at B tier. It's 3 rows. A tier is almost it's a little bit over 2 rows. And C tier is also 2 rows. And S has only 1 car in it. I know a lot of people will disagree with this, but if you look at it, for the most part, you will agree with most of these cars and how they're placed. I would put the Venture in B, but the point of this list is to see how easy it is to drive. So that's it. This is a very long stream. This is the longest tier list video for Asphalt 9 that's probably on the internet, just because there's just so much stuff to do, like setting up the stream and talking about other stuff. But yeah, thanks for joining, for those who joined. And I guess I'll see you in my next live stream. Maybe I'll do my next live stream with the voiceover again. I want to leave glitches out of the out of the discussion here because like that's just like a game loft problem. That's probably something that's going to get fixed in upcoming years. So leaving glitches out, I still think it still makes it. I mean, that's what makes it S class, S tier. Okay, so that's it. Thank you guys for joining, and have a good evening or morning wherever you are. And see you in my next stream. Goodbye.